everyone. This is Rachel Kirkland here, the Modern Shaman. Thanks for being with me for another YouTube question and answer video of the week. If you are new to the channel, I always start with a little bit of introduction and just say thank you for being here. I'm glad you're here. Check out my channel if you're interested in the non-physical realm, psychic, paranormal, all teachings in terms of metaphysical curriculum and how to gain an awareness of your spiritual journey and some techniques to help you engage on a level with the non-physical that feels like you have some control or you have some kind of tools in your tool belt of interacting in this wide, magical world that we live in. So I'm in a good mood. And I don't know why I prefaced that, but I'm in a good energy today. I don't know if y'all noticed, those of you guys that are tried and true and with me on this channel all the time. Last week, I skipped my video of the week. I apologize. It was a crazy time. My kids here in San Antonio, Texas, they went back to school and I began touring again. I started back on tour and so there was a little bit of a whirlwind in our household and I missed my video of the week. I do these every week. I try to release them once a week, usually on Wednesdays. That varies sometimes, but I apologize for the delay. And we're back, and then some of the furniture has been moved around. If y'all notice, I brought my chair. This whole setup that I have in my office now was originally in the waiting room right outside my office. So I brought my green velvet couch in here. We've moved some things around and it's feeling good. Great vibe. And I'm hoping that you guys are feeling good as well, that there's a new energy that feels vivacious that's kind of coming through with a current of new life, new beginning. Lord knows we can use it. Okay, so I'm going to get into the question of the day, the one that was sent in. And I'll just read it and then I will dive into the answer. Oh, I should say, sorry about that. All kind of promo stuff. I am going back on tour. Some of my Japanese, like I had all of these tours planned to go to Japan. That is still only online. But the Body, Mind, and Spirit Expos, I love that circuit. It's a great circuit of tours that does psychic phenomenon and a lot of metaphysical vendors and speakers and lecturers that come through that circuit. And so I'm back on that circuit. I was just in North Carolina last weekend, and then I think my next one is in Houston, Texas. So still in my neck of the woods, but if you want to come on out and connect with me, I'm gonna start kind of getting back on tour. We're gonna see how it goes. It was a wonderful weekend in North Carolina. The people there are phenomenal. I've been there before, but it's been a while since I've been there, so it was great to see some old faces, some old clients that like came out and made the trek in to see me, and the lecture was great, and just a lot of heartfelt, sincere readings. The readings always, they still blow me away. I've been doing this forever, but I'm still, when I go into readings, and especially when I was talking to my son about this. This was another kind of bonus for me as I brought my son on tour with me, my eldest, who's 12, and it was the first time he had been on tour with me, and he was kind of my personal helper for the weekend. And it was funny because he always, his big thing, I always say, how do you describe what I do? And he said, I just say that you change people's lives. And I'm like, well, that's a simple way of saying it. That's a great, powerful way of saying it. But it's always funny in these sessions. I'm always still surprised at the moments that feel really profound, and yet they come through language that seems so simple. And I just wanted to kind of share a little bit of encouragement with those of you guys that are working on your gifts and developing trust and confidence in the messages that you're receiving, to just tell you to continue on, and even when it seems outrageous. An example, when there was a client last weekend that the imagery kept coming through from the Wizard of Oz, and it seems like silly things to share in a very profound, deep question where they're asking life-changing questions, and Spirit's giving answers that seem kind of silly and trite. And yet after the session, she shared with me that Spirit always uses imagery from the Wizard of Oz, whether it's that's like her sign from spirit, to know that it's real, to know that she's supposed to move forward, that it's something she can trust. Whether it was a ruby slipper or there was like a lunchbox that said there's no place like home, and a home that she was about to buy, and all of these things. So it made perfect sense to her. And I had so many moments like that this weekend, where it's not necessarily messages that come through in a booming voice of God that feel like they are directing them in really esoteric wording. It's very simple, and sometimes that's the thing that means the most and hits the heart of those that are coming to you. So just wanting to encourage those of you guys that are out there and kind of stretching your muscles in the psychic phenomenon and starting to trust and build confidence in what's coming through. Never be afraid of just sharing in the simple truth of what you receive, and let that speak for itself. So that's not even my question, but I had to put that in there. It just came through, so Spirit wanted to say it. All right, I'll get on with it today. So here is the question of the week. It says, Rachel, thank you for your webinar. Oh, this one came in after, this was from one of my Japanese students. So I have had the pleasure, like I said, I was going to be touring. I was going to be in Tokyo this summer and doing workshops there, and I had 2 workshops, maybe it was 3, that we did online, and those were so phenomenal and successful, and I loved them so much that we set up, we're having 4 more before the end of the year with the Japanese students, and I'm just loving connecting with them. Their hearts are like so wholeheartedly interested, and the questions are just really intense and in-depth, and they're doing the work, like they are in it 100%. So this question came in from a student afterwards that was asking a question after that webinar. She said, the students love listening to your personal experience. For example, I learn a lot now that I've connected with you on Facebook and see pictures of your family. Actually, I tend to focus more on work, and I forget about enjoying life sometimes. It seems that you have a good balance of business life and personal life. I think this is important information to the students in Japan. If you have any time, I would like to know how you keep a good, healthy mental status while working so hard and not getting burned out as a healer. I would love to hear how you do it. Best wishes. Okay, so the question this week is just kind of about life balance, especially as a healer or in the spiritual, in this realm of spiritual work. The feeling of balance or peace is more accessible when we feel like we are living a life in terms of the time that we commit and the amount of heartfelt energy that we put into things that line up with our true priorities. So for me, you guys know I have 3 children, and that was always in the forefront of my priorities. My children, before even my work. I mean, part of the reason I got so focused in my work was to support my children and to create something sustainable for my children, to have a house for my children, to build something that felt like I could take them on a vacation. Or a lot of my goals financially have always centered around my children. And so a sense of priority for me has been really helpful to make me feel at peace with the amount of time I'm spending on my personal life versus on my work life. Now, if you don't have children and your priorities are to create a business, and that is kind of your baby, then you may have a very different balance with your time, and I think that that's appropriate. It's always appropriate when it's in alignment with your priorities. All right, so I think that is key in terms of feeling balanced, is that you identify what are your priorities in life, what's important to you, and that you manage your time and the effort in which you're putting into things, that your heart, your personal energy, your life force energy, that chi flowing divine spirit that's coursing through you, that is channeled and active in the things that truly matter to you. So the second piece of advice that I would give you, or any of those that would like to have more balance in their life with their working schedule, and this goes across the board, it's not just for those in the spiritual community that are working in kind of like the wellness community. All of us seek a sort of balance and peace in our work and personal life. And so that second piece is to develop a schedule that truly identifies and creates blocks of time that support your priorities. And I, for myself, and this is just me, but you asked, how do I do it? So this is how I do it. I have to hold myself to it. I have to create a weekly schedule, and I have to be sure that I include a day off for myself, a Sabbath, where I do not work. This is especially important because I'm self-employed. This is my personal business that I created. I do have a team now that's supporting that, but it's all still on me. Like I'm kind of the one that gets it going in terms of being an entrepreneur. And so it's very easy to always have something else that you could be doing or should be doing or feel the weight of that. And so it's really important to hold yourself, at least for me. I found that if I didn't hold myself to a day off, I would burn out. And you mentioned that burnout. So that's the way that I keep myself from it. And I'm not perfect. Like sometimes when I have a deadline or I'm working towards a big goal and I don't give myself time off every week, then I do tend to burn out. Then I don't feel as motivated towards it. And so that's just a regular part of our human sense of work ethic. I have a strong sense of diligence to what I do because I believe in it. And it's important to me, and my heart is truly in what I do. But at the same time, if I don't keep myself accountable to a regular schedule of work and then having a break, also when my kids get home from school, when they are with me, I make myself stop working. This is another big one. And I didn't always do this. This was a lesson learned. For me, because I'm so 100% in what I do, I don't feel like I'm as good of a mother. I'm as good of a healer. I'm as good of a seer and mentor and teacher when half of me or a third of me is distracted. And so I've learned to stop and to create a schedule where I work while they are at school, or they are in activity, or they are doing something, and then when they are home, I am 100% with them. And the only kind of part that doesn't happen is if I am touring, or if I am at lecture, or traveling, or teaching a big lecture. But for the most part, in terms of taking clients, I created a schedule that's in alignment with those priorities. So that is pivotal for finding that balance, because then you don't feel guilty on one side or the other. And that's what I was feeling at the beginning when I was trying to do it all at once. It was too much, and everybody was in a lose-lose situation, and I felt like I wasn't able to give all of my energy and attention to what I was focused on in that moment. And so being able to separate working at a certain time and being with my children at another time, and being focused on them and focused on their schooling, or focused on their activities, or focused on their emotional well-being and what they're going through and growing through, and all of that, it really helps me feel at peace with being able to be fully present in what I'm engaging in. So that's my second piece of advice, is give yourself a schedule that works for you, that you know you need, especially the breaks. If you know you need a break. And the breaks, when I take a day off, I do anything I want to do. I don't do any responsible things. I don't make myself do the laundry. I don't make it's a freedom day. And I need those. Otherwise, I move into a sense of mechanicalness, and I don't enjoy the part of life. So that's really, really important to make sure that you schedule it in, and then you hold yourself to that schedule. All right, the third piece of advice that I would give you when I'm reading your question, I think we talked about this in the class, but I would create a list of what makes you happy. And this seems so simple, but I cannot tell you how often this comes up with Spirit. Spirit told me this first and tells me this all the time. Actually, you know what? I made another one of these lists this morning in my meditation. After my meditation, I was journaling and I was like, I need to do another happy. I was feeling burnt out. I did some touring this weekend, and like I said, the kids are in school, and there's a big kind of whirlwind of change going on right now, and we're in the middle of it. And so I found myself feeling really fritzed out on the edges, burnt out. And so I had to sit and I'm like, what would make me happy right now? What's something I can do? So creating a list for yourself of the little things that give you this sensation of happiness. And they don't have to be big. They don't have to cost money. I'll tell you, some of mine are like singing in the shower, playing music, the music I want to listen to really loud, and singing or dancing around to it. Things that I feel completely uninhibited to do, like when no one else is around and it's just me, or in my car driving with my windows down. If I had a convertible, I would love it, but I don't. So I have the Mama minivan. So if I had a minivan and I just roll down all my windows in the minivan and let my hair blow and let the music play and just imagine that I'm in a convertible driving down the road and just happy as a lark, just in a moment of created joy. Those are two of the things on my happy list. Another one is watching movies, like watching a movie that I enjoy. Not, a movie that my kids probably don't want to watch, my boyfriend probably doesn't want to watch, something that like Little Women or something, something that's kind of like a happy, girly movie that just gets me in a happy place. Or maybe that one would probably make me cry, but something that gives me a sense of ease and joy to just be myself and be in a moment of joy. Those are little things on my list, but I encourage you to make that list for yourself and to have accessible use of it. Do a few things that feel like they elevate, literally like the serotonin in your brain, like give you a sensation of ease and joy in the moment. Simple. I can't tell you how often it feels like it changes my day completely when I can take a shower and put the music I want to put on and blare it and sing in the shower. It just creates a happy little moment where I'm genuinely happy. Like, I don't know, it's enough. It's enough. And having kind of action towards those small happies, that nobody else has to give you that. Nobody else has to make you happy. Nobody has to come home and have a great day for you to feel happy. Nobody has to bring you flowers to give you happy. It's you making you happy, and you know how to do that. And you have them at ease. Like I said, they're not difficult. They don't cost a lot of money. It's just like, I'm just going to do this, and will create, I know, a quick sensation and experience of happiness. That kind of moves you into that space of ease and balance. And then from there, you can look back at the first two things I mentioned. Your priorities, are they in alignment with the way that you're living your life? And then if they're not, go to the schedule. Create a new schedule for yourself. I create a new schedule all the time, basically seasonally, because I have young kids that follow a school system. We have a different life schedule in the summer, and we have with COVID and with all of the quarantine regulations, we've had a completely different schedule while they've been at home versus when they're in school. And so we have to readdress our schedule and making sure that it lines up with our priorities and with our work included in that, and how that feels like it creates balance to you. Once you've identified your priorities, then it feels like you're going to be able to determine what that balanced amount of time is for you. When that cutting point off is where you say, all right, I've worked for 6 hours, I've worked for 8 hours, I've worked for 12 hours, whatever your cutting point off is, and now I'm going to rest, or this is going to be my end. I think that's really important when you step into being an entrepreneur or starting your own business, to have a time when you let your brain rest from it. And if things come up and you think of a great idea, or you think, oh, I need to do that right now, or I forgot to do this, you just jot it down. This is what I do. I jot it down on a little sticky note and I put it in my work book, my work folder, which is like a schedule book. And so I know when I start work again, I'm going to see that note. That's the first thing I'll see. So, but I don't have to move into it right now, or there's no sense of loss or worry or concern that I'm not going to get time to do it. I will get to it when I'm on my work schedule. And I feel like that's the easiest way to create balance, but you have to hold yourself to it. You have to know that it's important. Know that that balance and that peace is something that you desire, and that you will make changes where there isn't balance in your life. It's always worth it. Always worth it. You benefit, and then in essence, everyone that's connected to you benefits from your energy that emanates from you of peace and balance, and then they feel like they like being in your presence of balance and peace. And so it's a blessing to all involved. Great question. Okay, I hope that's helpful to you guys. I'm going to sign off, and we'll be back here next week with another video.